Welcome to another FAQ Monday. I'm your host, Fluff, and you know what? Today we're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty and talk about things that no one has ever wondered about. I'm just kidding. Someone's clearly wondering about something because I get asked a question, of course, but you know, I don't think anyone is sitting around asking about binge watching shows on Netflix. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Ever tried out Marshall headphones or speakers? I've noticed a few bands and documentaries using the Marshall Monitor headphones during the recording process, and I think listening to those albums sounds best with those headphones and the related speakers. I have not. I also have noticed a lot of bands using the Marshall headphones. I don't know if those like are a gimmicky kind of thing or like they're legit. I imagine they're meant to listen to you know, music, like you're not supposed to mix on them. But if you were to listen to any given album, I'm sure like the low end has a real nice bump, and you know, it's a little scoop sounding, and the top end isn't super harsh. I don't know. I know the Marshall folks, so maybe I should ask them for some headphones to review. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I would actually like record with them, but I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe like they're the greatest secret headphone audiophile thing ever. If you have the Marshall headphones, comment down below, let us know. Serious note, did you binge watch anything bite-worthy during quarantine? I have been binge watching all sorts of stuff, me and the girlfriend have. First, we binge watched Lost. Remember that show Lost, you know, stranded on an island back in like, when was that show even on? Like 2004 or something? We binge watched all of Lost, which was interesting because when it was originally on and I was like some 24-year-old kid, I hated that show. I saw like the first 2 episodes and I was just like, this is stupid. Fast forward to about to be 40 me, and I'm like, wow, real trials and tribulations of these adults. Your tastes change, right? Also interesting is like with Lost, you know, because it was on like a prime time network thing. This was not a cable show. Each season is like 26 episodes, which is nuts. 6 seasons of 26 episodes. That is a lot of TV. You know, we're so used to, you know, these days, you know, watching, you know, Rick and Morty, and a whole season is like 10 episodes, 9 episodes. It's just, it was just a different time and place, right? So we watched Lost. We're in the middle of Schitt's Creek. We've watched Heroes. We've watched all sorts of stuff. We've watched all of the What We Do in the Shadows. We've watched, dude, honestly, we've watched almost all the shows, it feels like. But if you have a suggestion for a show that is binge worthy, please leave them down below in the comments. Always looking for suggestions. What was the last band that really made you take a step back and say, wow, because you felt like they brought something new to the table? Could be any genre, but not necessarily because of technical prowess. Mine was Oronsi Pazuzu. It's crazy Finnish metal. Thank you for your question, Alexander. Honestly, the last artist that did that for me only recently, and I'm totally late to this party, was The Weeknd, who's not rock and not metal, so maybe a lot of you have no idea who that is. But The Weeknd only recently made me go, wow, okay, because of the way he writes his lyrics, and his newer music is like a combination of like trippy, like trip and dream gazy, like and like 80s stuff and disco, and like he's combining a lot of different styles, and then also singing about really dark things under a really happy sounding melody, which is not a new thing, but the way he does it really made me go, whoa, this is pretty on point. His newest album, After Hours, it's literally like a linear timeline of him breaking up with his lady and like different points during that breakup and things he went through. And like there's all sorts of metaphors, like he has this huge hit single called Blinding Lights. Blinding Lights are referring to the ambulance that he is in after he's overdosed, for example. Like there's all sorts of cool, crazy stuff. But that was the last album or artist that I was like, oh, wow. That really kind of just blew me away. Do you have any comic books? I do have some old comic books. I have the first dozen or so Spawns. I have all of the Deathmates. Back in the day, I was into comic books. I was into the very, early Image stuff and Valiant stuff. I was like the perfect age for that kind of stuff. So I have like a lot of the old Exo Man-O-Wars, the Valiant Harbinger stuff, Solar Man of the Atom. I do have a Batman trade paperback though. I have a Sword of Ezreal Zero. I have all sorts of random stuff. I think I have Youngblood #1. I don't know, I have a bunch of Image stuff. I had this friend, Jeff Decker, who owned we were in 7th grade. He owned his own comic book store because he had such a comic book collection. He actually got a business loan co-signed by his parents, and he opened up a small comic book business and made a very healthy living off of it. And so I was always able to get stuff as it came out. So being a vendor, he would get, the catalogs to order from the distributor catalogs, and like, oh, this issue's coming out, or this issue's coming out, or this special edition Spider-Man's coming out. And so like me and all my friends would, he would go around school taking orders for comic books. He was genius. But yeah, I have a lot of Image and Valiant stuff myself. Turok the Dinosaur Hunter #1. Random stuff. I don't think any of it is worth anything anymore, but I've still held on to it after all these years. I do like the 90s golden era comic books for me are just some of my favorite. I also used to have a ton of 70s Marvel stuff. I loved the Jack Kirby stuff and the Williamson and John Byrne drawn stuff. So like, Days of Future Past timeline for the X-Men, like the 70s Marvel stuff was so amazing. I used to have a ton of that stuff, but I don't have those anymore. Just the 90s Valiant and Image stuff. If you could choose anyone, dead or alive, who would you choose to produce your next album? Honestly, I would probably choose, if he was still alive, I would choose Jerry Finn to produce the next Drake Thunder record. Because that dude was a genius and did, all the classic Blink 182, Alkaline Trio, AFI, Sum 41. He did all of those early 2000s, mid 2000s pop punk rock records, and that dude was so brilliant. If I couldn't get Jerry, someone living, I would probably have, I don't know, maybe Matt Good, or just going someone super like super left field. I would get, trying to think of like producers. I don't know, like Daft Punk or something like totally. And let's just see what happens, guys, because if we can afford you, we can afford to experiment in the studio. So that's, yeah. But Jerry Finn, if I could get Jerry Finn, oh, what a brilliant man. What would you recommend for a good starting baritone guitar? I've been wanting to get one for a while, and I'm not sure which brand is the best. Honestly, Schecter has some great baritones, although I think they're kind of phasing them out. Schecter, LTD is good. Sterling, I think, makes a baritone. Maybe they don't. No, I don't think they make a baritone. I think they make a 7-string baritone. You didn't say whether you wanted a 6 or 7-string. PRS, honestly, I would look on the used market if I were you. You get really, really good deals on Schecter EX baritones. For example, you could pick up one of those for $400 or $500 on the used market. And there's not a ton of people looking for baritone guitars, so I would stick with the big guys. Schecter, LTD. I think Fender's made a couple over the years. Definitely look on the used market though, because over the years there's been some really, really great bang for the buck baritones made from all sorts of companies that aren't necessarily being made as new right now, but that's okay. Hey Fluff, a real simple question. What do you think about the fundamentals to successfully grow a YouTube subscriber base? I know it's not gonna happen overnight, but is it just a case of plugging away, making regular videos, or should I upload less, but make the content better? I hope that doesn't sound stupid. Thanks, man. No, that's a good question. It's changed a lot since I came up. So, YouTube, the world of YouTube is always changing, and they're always tweaking the algorithm and all that stuff. Back when I started, things like your thumbnail did not matter. Things like keywords did not matter. It was strictly traffic based. So if something was getting a little traction, they would instantly just kind of give it a lot of traction, because the overall total number of videos going up on any given day was a fraction of what goes up today, right? So now it's this big competition in this race, and everything matters, like your thumbnail, the color of your thumbnail, your hashtags, your description, your keywords, your timing. Everything matters now, and it's such a different game. You have to have the clickbaitiest title. You have to have, an expression on your thumbnail or something like that. That just never even mattered when I came up. However, if you do want to build a successful YouTube channel, do realize, as you mentioned, it doesn't happen overnight. And even if it does happen overnight, witness my good buddy Jared Dines. He had a super viral video. Actually, he had like 3 or 4 viral videos. He had to maintain that. And he worked hard, and he's a brilliant, talented dude, and he kept making banger after banger after banger, and they were so entertaining. I would definitely not focus on releasing too often unless you're ready to. Definitely quality over quantity. However, if you're trying to do this for a living, which I don't think anyone should actually aim to do this for a living, regular videos do have to happen. I am lucky that now I'm in a position where I don't have to put out a video every week. I put out 3, sometimes 4 videos a week, just because I have so much to get out and do and say, which is a great place to be, because I've also been in the other direction of I have nothing to put out for several weeks, but I will starve and not eat if I don't put something out, which is the perils of doing something like YouTube full time. So quality content, making sure your technical side is tidied up, like thumbnails, titling, etc., etc. There are various tools out there to help you do that. Quality of video matters, lighting matters, audio matters. All of these things matter now. However, if it's good, it's good, right? Like, so I can tell you till I'm blue in the face, this will matter, this will matter, this will matter. But the reality of it is, you never know what's gonna hit and what's not gonna hit. So if you're looking to just grow a YouTube channel, just make your videos good, and make what you think is good and or funny and or educational. People will follow. My brother, my question is, not having an effects loop a deal breaker on buying a new amp? It's funny. Back in the day, I never cared at all about an effects loop. An effects loop, old dads in bars use effects loops. I need an effects loop for my rack delay or my eventide harmonizer. I never cared about effects loops at all. Now, I do care about them, and I do see the value of them. I don't know. I think I was doing that stupid kid thing where it's like, I get what they're for, and I think that's dumb, and why should I have to carry on another thing? I'll just get a pedal to do it. I didn't get it. I was just a dumb kid. We're all dumb kids at some point, right? And now I do look for an effects loop, although these days it's pretty uncommon for something not to have an effects loop. The only amp that I own that doesn't have an effects loop is my 1959 hand-wired Marshall Plexi that is behind my desk. But I knew that going into it, and that's not something I really wanted to loop in anyway. So, and if I wanted a Plexi with a loop, I would get like the SLP, the 1959 SLP non-hand-wired amp. That has an effects loop. But you know, the 59 hand-wired is supposed to be true to the original, so it doesn't have an effects loop because old amps didn't have effects loop. So to answer your question in a really, really long-winded way, no, not a deal breaker. I don't really care, but it's definitely nice to have for sure. I'm thinking of going with a new computer and using a plugin to get my guitar tones. What recommendation do you have as far as a solid guitar interface to plug my guitar into the computer, as well as a good set of audio monitors, studio monitors, on a budget? Good question. A good interface, honestly, I tell people anything from the Focusrite line is rock solid. I know it's probably a little pricier than a lot of people want to spend. You know, I think the 2i2 is $150. However, the 3rd generation Focusrite stuff is really, really good. It's plug and play. It will never leave you on the side of the road, and it just works. I've had all the generations of Focusrite stuff. When I have to travel or go on tour, I bring most of the time a Focusrite with me because it'll just work. And I love the Focusrite stuff. I'm not affiliated with Focusrite in any way, shape, or form, but the Focusrite interfaces are fantastic. That's not to say there aren't other great interfaces. Audient makes a fantastic interface, multiple fantastic interfaces. I think SSL has a budget interface. Just depends on your specific needs, but generally start looking at the Focusrite stuff, in my opinion. It's just really, really good stuff. And also use my affiliate link down below in the description to Sweetwater if you are so inclined to help me out a little bit. Shameless plug. As far as monitors go, I definitely recommend the Kali Audio anything in your budget. Kali Audio LP6s are a fantastic bang for your buck. I think they're 135 a piece, and they're really, really nice sounding. And you can definitely mix on them. I have mixed on them. So Kali Audio monitors, Focusrite interfaces, you'll be good to go. It's a fantastic starting point. And that does it for this edition of FAQ Monday, episode number 276, I believe is 276. And yeah, and with that, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them on down below in the comments. I definitely am always needing more questions. You've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed the video that you just watched, please consider subscribing. It helps me, help you, and then in turn you get more stuff to watch. And also, I have all sorts of stuff down in the description of this video. Sweetwater giveaway stuff, there's all sorts of links to all sorts of things, so consider checking that out as well if you're gonna hang. But if you don't hang, all good. I still love you.